Obviously, this trial has been quite a roller coaster, and we're all quite aware that one side appears to be more in the wrong than the other. This may be due to a myriad of things like bad attorneys, weak testimonies on behalf of Amber Heard, and some pretty solid testimonies on behalf of Johnny Depp. But one thing continues to cause issues in the courtroom, and that is the behavior of the defendant, Amber Heard. Many people think that maybe she has issues beyond tendencies towards abuse and lying. Some people are starting to wonder if Amber Heard is a sociopath, and there may be some truth to that. Let's take a look into it, shall we? First, let's try and understand what sociopathic behavior entails. It's basically a mental disorder in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong, and ignores the rights and feelings of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, or treat others harshly or with a callous indifference. They also tend to show no guilt or remorse for their behavior after the fact. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder often violate the law and end up becoming criminals as a result. They may lie, behave violently or impulsively, and have problems with drug and alcohol use. Because of these characteristics, people with this disorder typically can't fulfill responsibilities related to family, work, or school. Some of the symptoms of sociopathy are a disregard for right and wrong, persistent lying or deceit to exploit others, callousness, and arrogance. They also tend to use charm or wit to manipulate others for personal gain or personal pleasure. So if that description sounds like Amber Heard, then it's up to you whether or not you'd want to draw a conclusion here. But even though it wouldn't be an official diagnosis, her behavior in and out of court all seem to point to perhaps this type of behavior. Now, it's important to give her the benefit of the doubt since the trial isn't complete yet, and assume that she could also just be a person who has made a number of selfish and perhaps seemingly manipulative choices while in her right mind. And although that may sound like we're letting her off the hook, remember that this assumption would give her even less credibility in the case of her alleged abusive behavior. Giving her a diagnosis of mental illness sort of moves towards justifying her actions, if anything. One bit of behavior that I've noticed could be an example of sociopathic behavior is how Amber Heard continuously glances over at the jury whenever she speaks, as if she's trying to convince them of everything she says. This behavior makes it seem like somewhere deep down, even she knows she's perhaps being untruthful and needs to constantly convince others of her false narratives. On the other hand, she could just be looking to see what the jury's thinking because she knows it will affect the outcome of this case. Another example that might suggest Amber Heard is a sociopath is her sense of superiority over others. She appears so calm and confident in court, but it seems as though this calm isn't inspired by any genuine peace of mind, but instead it seems like it's brought on by an unjustified arrogance, as if she is completely in the right without any wavering in her convictions, and completely confident regardless of what she may have done wrong in the past. For example, even when she's caught in a blatant lie, there is no sense that she feels any shame for lying, but instead exerts a sense of heightened confidence, like getting caught in a lie doesn't even affect her, or like it's somehow justified in some way, as if she believes that the jury and the other members of the court hadn't just been exposed to blatant evidence that she was being deceptive. This could be considered sociopathic because she herself seems to be convinced that she hasn't told a lie, which is the behavior of someone who is living in a totally different reality, one that they've constructed themselves. Another behavior trait of sociopathy is that those with the disorder tend to have poor or abusive relationships, which is, well, that one's pretty self-explanatory in the case of Amber Heard. On their own, someone with relationship issues shouldn't be deemed a sociopath, but paired with everything else we've discussed so far, this is a major point to acknowledge. It's also noted that sociopaths tend to have issues fulfilling work and financial obligations, and with Amber Heard failing to follow through with her intentions to donate her divorce settlement funds, this is another shocking point that really makes us wonder. So, since we're not psychologists, we can't make an official diagnosis, but we can still speculate in an attempt to better understand the behavior of Amber Heard in this very, very complex trial. Whether or not Amber Heard is found guilty, there's no question that she's been exhibiting problematic behavior that might be in line with sociopathy. But for a proper diagnosis, we'd have to wait for a professional to do a proper examination. It actually might be interesting to see what a professional thinks about this. So if any of you out there are registered psychologists or psychotherapists, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are, because we'd be curious to hear what someone thinks who spends more time with sociopaths in a professional setting. But for now, that's our take.